I want you to think of someone you love who has an addiction. Maybe it's you. That's okay. We'll get to it. But first, think of someone you love. Maybe they drink, maybe they smoke, maybe they gamble, maybe they can't stop shopping, maybe they can't stop scrolling, maybe they eat in ways that scare you, maybe they use a substance that you can't name out loud. Think of them. Now think of the word you probably use when you think about this person and their addiction. Weak, lacking power, selfish, can't be helped, choosing it. I want to offer you something today that might change how you see them and how you see yourself. Because here is the truth that the addiction industry, the recovery programs, the rehab centers, the 12-step culture almost never fully says. You are not addicted to the thing. You are addicted to the feeling the thing gives you. And it is not a minor distinction. That is the entire difference between treating addiction and actually healing it. My name is Teja Priyadarshini. Welcome back to Spiritual Tea. Pull up a chair. This one is personal for everyone. Let me start with a story because this is always where the truth lands, not in theory but in a real human life. I'll call her Meera. Meera had tried to quit smoking 9 times in 12 years. Patches, gums, prescription medication, cold turkey, twice. Hypnotherapy, not the quantum kind, the suggestion kind, which worked for 3 months and then didn't. A bet with her sister that she'd lose 3 lakhs if she picked up again. She picked up again. Every time she described the same experience. I know it's killing me. I know every reason to stop. I want to stop. I decide to stop, and then something happens. A moment of stress or something trivial, even sometimes nothing at all. And I'm outside with a cigarette before I've consciously decided to be. When she came to me, she said, I think I just don't have enough willpower. I think some people are just weak like this. I want to tell you what we found in the quantum hypnosis sessions because it had nothing to do with nicotine and nothing to do with willpower. Meera grew up in a joint family, loud, chaotic, emotionally intense, lots of people, lots of noise, lots of unpredictability. And she was the sensitive one, the one who felt everything at full volume. Every tension in the room, every unspoken conflict, every person's emotional weather pressing against her like physical weight. From very early, she learned to manage this by disappearing. Not literally, but by finding reasons to step away from the room. At 14, she discovered that a cigarette gave her a reason, a socially acceptable, portable, reliable reason to step outside, be alone, breathe, create distance between herself and the overwhelming input of other people's emotional states. The cigarette was never about nicotine. The cigarette was about the door. The permission to leave, the boundary that didn't require explanation, the moment of solitude that her nervous system had been desperately seeking since childhood, finally given a vehicle. We didn't work on the smoking. We worked on what the smoking was answering. We built Meera's capacity as an adult, consciously and clearly, to do what the cigarette had been doing for her. To leave rooms that were too much. To say, I need a moment, to create energetic boundaries around her nervous system without needing a prop to justify them. To regulate the sensitivity that had been her greatest burden and is actually, as I told her, her greatest gift. She quit smoking 6 weeks after the single session. Not because I took the cigarette away, because the cigarette finally had nothing left to do. Now, I want to broaden this out because Meera's story is not unique, it is universal. Every addiction, and I mean every addiction, is answering a specific emotional function. And when you understand what the addiction is actually doing to the person, not what it's destroying, but what it's providing, everything changes. Let me walk you through a few. Alcohol. The most common emotional functions I see underneath alcoholism is the management of anxiety that the person has never given tools to manage consciously. The muting of emotional sensitivity, particularly in people who feel too much and were never taught that feeling too much is a gift, not a malfunction. The lowering of the inner critic, that relentless punishing voice that for some people is only quiet when the alcohol arrives. And the most commonly, the creation of temporary state of permission. Permission to be imperfect, permission to not have everything together, permission to not perform. The person who drinks every evening is not weak. They are exhausted from performing all day, and they have found in the glass the only reliable moment of being allowed to stop. Heal the need for permission to be imperfect, and the glass loses its function. Second one, gambling. This one surprises people when I tell them the truth. Nobody gambles to win money. Not really. At the subconscious level, gambling is about something much more complex. For some people, the high of the bet is the only intensity that matches what they feel inside. They live in an inner world of extraordinary emotional richness, and everyday world is too flat to contain it. The bet brings the outside into alignment with the inside, briefly. For others, and this is the one that took me years to understand fully, gambling is a controlled form of loss. Let me explain that. There is a man I'll call Vikram. Vikram won large amounts of money regularly and then lost all of it regularly. The pattern was precise enough to be mechanical. In quantum hypnosis, we found a 12-year-old Vikram watching his father's business collapse, watching his father lose their home, watching his mother cry in a way that a child should never have to witness. And the 12-year-old had made a decision. Made it in the wordless cellular subconscious language that children make decisions. Keeping things means losing them suddenly and without control. Better to lose them myself on my own terms before the world does it for me. He had been enacting the decision in the casino for 20 years. Winning, then losing, proving over and over that he was right. That nothing could be kept, that loss was inevitable. That he would rather control it rather than be surprised by it. Vikram didn't have a gambling problem. Vikram had a 12-year-old's grief about a loss he had never been allowed to fully feel. And the casino was the only place he had found to ritually process it. We completed the grief. We gave the 12-year-old Vikram what he needed. He had not gambled in 2 years. Not because I told him not to. Not because he found more willpower. Because the thing the casino was doing, the ritual mourning of inevitable loss, was finally done at the source, and the casino had nothing left to offer him. Now let me talk about the addiction that is currently the largest in the world by number of people affected. Not alcohol, not tobacco, doom scrolling. I know it doesn't feel like an addiction. It feels like a habit, a bad habit maybe, but surely not on par with gambling and alcoholism. I want to challenge that. By clinical definition, an addiction is characterized by increasing tolerance, needing more to get the same effect. Withdrawal symptoms when stopped, anxiety, restlessness, discomfort. Use despite knowing negative consequences, repeated failed attempts to stop or reduce. The behavior taking up increasing amounts of time and mental space. How many of those boxes does your phone use check? The emotional function that doom scrolling is most commonly serving, in my clinical experience, is hypervigilance. Your nervous system was designed to monitor for threat. In an uncertain or chaotic childhood, that monitoring was a survival tool, a survival mechanism to stay alert, watch for what's coming, never be surprised by the danger. The infinite scroll gives that hypervigilance the most comprehensive threat monitoring system ever invented. Every global crisis, every local disaster, every interpersonal controversy, every potential danger, all delivered in real time, all requiring your nervous system to process, assess, and remain alert. For the hypervigilant nervous system, the doom scroll is not depressing. It is satisfying. In the way that any job feels satisfying when it matches what you were trained for. Your anxiety has found employment. It is working very hard, doing exactly what it knows how to do. The problem is that it's also destroying your capacity for rest, pleasure, presence, and genuine connection. The phone is not the addiction. The hypervigilance is the addiction. The phone is just where it found a job. Now I want to talk to you about something a bit more delicate. Shopping, food, and the addictions we don't call addictions because they're socially acceptable and even celebrated. Shopping addiction is the most prevalent and least discussed addiction on earth. Here is what I have found, without exception, underneath compulsive shopping. A feeling that an acquisition of a new thing creates. Not the thing itself, but just that feeling. The 3-second window between wanting and having, where the nervous system briefly experiences something it is trying to access. Most commonly, the feeling of being chosen, of being worth something, of a wish being granted. I worked with a woman, let's call her Sunita, 41, 35 lakhs of debt from online shopping. A wardrobe she could not close, things still in her delivery boxes unopened. She said, I don't even like most of it. I opened the box and it's already not what I thought it would be, but I can't stop ordering. In the session, we found her origin. She was 9 years old. Her mother was emotionally absent, not cruel, absent, somewhere inside her own pain. But occasionally, maybe once a month, her mother would arrive home with a small gift. Nothing expensive, a hair clip, a sweet, a small toy. And in that moment of arrival with something, Sunita's mother was present, warm, attending to her daughter. The gift was not the gift. The gift was her mother showing up. Every online order Sunita placed as a 41-year-old adult was trying to recreate that moment. That click was her mother's arrival. The tracking notification was the anticipation. The doorbell was her mother's warmth. The unboxing was the moment of being seen. And of course, the thing in the box was just a thing. Not her mother, not warmth, not that feeling. So she ordered again. When we completed the work, when we addressed the wound that was at the root, she didn't need a willpower intervention. She didn't need a budget system. She needed to grieve the mother she didn't quite have. And to build as an adult the capacity to feel seen and chosen by herself and by other people directly. Not through the ritual of unboxing, through a reality of connection. She spent 6 months after the work clearing her wardrobe, not as a punishment, as ceremony, donating piece by piece what had never been what she was actually looking for. She said something to me at the end that I want you to hear. I realized I wasn't shopping for clothes. I was shopping for my mother to come home. And she is never coming home in a delivery box. But I finally know how to call her and how to let other people show up and how to show up for myself. And that is what I was actually shopping for. Here is what I want to leave you with. If you or someone you love is struggling with an addiction, please hear this. The addiction is not a character defect. It is a creative solution to an unsolved problem. It was found usually in a moment of great need, usually young because it worked. It provided something the person needed that they could find no other way to get. And it has continued working in the narrow, costly, destructive way it works because no one has yet addressed the underlying problem it was solving. The way through addiction is not more willpower. It is not 12 steps alone. It is not shame or consequence or the removal of access to the substance. Those things can interrupt the behavior temporarily. The way through addiction is to find what the addiction is answering at the quantum root and address that directly. When the underlying need is finally met in a real, direct, sustainable way, the addiction loses its function, and something that had survived every treatment loses its grip. Not because the substance changes, because the person no longer needs what the substance was providing. This is not a quick fix. I will never tell you it is. But it is a real fix. And you or the person you love deserves a real fix. Not management. Not white knuckling. Freedom. I want to end with one question, and I want you to sit with it. Not answer it aloud. Not journal it. Just sit with it. What is that one thing you keep doing that you know you don't want to keep doing, and what feeling does it give you in the moment you do it? Not what it costs you, not why it's bad, not what you have tried, but just that feeling it gives you in that specific moment that you are somewhere desperate for. That feeling is the beginning of the map, and the map leads to the route. And the route, when reached and completed, is where the freedom actually lives. Thank you for being here. If this episode connected with you, send it to that one person who comes to mind right now. Not to tell them that they have a problem, to tell them there is a real way through this, and it starts by understanding what you're actually addicted to. I'll see you next week on Spirituality.